Welcome back to another episode of Destinations, Dents, and Discoveries. In this episode, we are leaving snowy Rockhound State Park in Deming, New Mexico behind. We're going to pass through Las Cruces and then head into West Texas. Our first stop is Hueco Tanks State Park near El Paso. It's an oasis that has sustained people for more than 10,000 years. It's home to ancient rock art and a favorite today for hikers, rock climbers, and birdwatchers.
From there, we return to New Mexico and settle in at Camp Washington Ranch, the perfect space for exploring Guadalupe Mountains and Carlsbad Caverns National Parks. Hard to believe we've lived most of our lives in the West, including time in Utah and New Mexico, but have never been to these two parks.
And we are looking forward to changing all that. So come along with us on this episode of Destinations, Dents, and Discoveries.
When we went to check in at Hueco Tanks State Park, we were not allowed to proceed directly to our campsite. Instead, we were forced to sit down and watch a video. We weren't the only ones being singled out. Anyone who visits the park has to watch this video, and it basically tells you how to behave within the park. Unfortunately, on one hand, we get it because not everyone behaves properly, but we were kind of annoyed.
We're going to need to watch that again.
When we finally did get to our campsite, we were very happy though because it was huge, very shaded, and very private. We got settled in and sat back to enjoy a peaceful, dark sky night. Now that we know the rules and regulations for walking around the park, we did do some short hikes. We are in Texas at Hueco Tanks State Park.
It's an archaeological site located about 30 minutes from downtown El Paso, and it's famous for its pictographs on the cave walls and on the rock walls here. They're from the Jornada Mogollon people.
The main event here is the Cave Kiva hike. The park gives you a guide that reads like a treasure map. Follow the rocks until you see the boulder shaped like a duck. Then look for the boulder shaped like an alligator. But some areas, as we learned in the video, are only accessible with a ranger guide. Hueco means hollow, and all throughout, even when we were walking up here, there's just sections where it's hollow.
The rock is like hollowed out.
The water collects there, so lots of animals end up living here. Once you reach the cave where the Jornada Mogollon people left their paintings more than 1,000 years ago, it is worth every step of the way.
Whew! We made it. Since I'm recovering from back surgery, turns out I couldn't actually go in the cave because you got to crawl and slide, and I don't think my doctor would approve. So, what'd you see?
There were several faces just painted in red. Something looked like a spider, but you crawl through and then you can stand up again. So it was really cool. I'm so glad that we did this.
And I'm jealous that I couldn't go. So I want to tell you about something really odd that happened to us at Hueco that ended up turning out to be even more odd. We're walking Doug, it's at night, and Hueco's a dark sky park, so it's pitch black, there's no moon, and all the stars are out, but it is black and quiet. And all of a sudden we hear this rustling behind us and to the side of us, and we're not quite sure what it is. So I take my headlamp and I shine it up into the hills, and what do I see but like dozens of eyes staring at us. I don't know what it is. Mountain goats, mountain sheep, family of chupacabras, who knows?
Okay, it's okay. No, it's okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to zoom in. Oh, wow. So we were just walking Doug, and we saw these eyes looking at us, and it turns out they're mountain goats. And now, of course, we're blinding them all. We looked at them, our eyes adjusted. They seem to be sheep kind of creatures, and so we just decided they're not bothering us, we're not going to bother them, we're just going to keep going. Okay, bye guys. The next day, we talked to the camp host, who tells us that what they are is awdads. I made him spell it. He spelled it wrong, but I looked it up. Awdads are also known as Barbary sheep. These animals are native to Africa, and they were brought to Texas in the 1950s so that they could be hunted for sport.
I'm a wet-hot sportsman after wild game. Huh? Oh, boy.
Now, they're a totally invasive species in Texas. And the really weird thing is, we didn't see another one the entire time we were at Hueco. This is where we saw the goats or the sheep last night. We thought you'd like to see it in the daylight so you get a feel for where they were all standing and what a precarious perch that they had and why it was so weird that we just saw those eyes staring at us in the middle of the night. One night while we were at Hueco Tanks, we set out for Cattleman Steakhouse. It's about a 40-mile drive from both downtown El Paso and Hueco Tanks. Cattleman's is set on a working ranch called Indian Cliffs, and it's across from some dramatic badlands and, as you can see, literally in the middle of nowhere. Today, it's a massive family-style steakhouse set on a hill, complete with a zoo, hay rides, and even movie-set backdrops. It's part Texas legend, part cattle country spectacle. We are at Cattleman's in Fabin, Texas, and it is a West Texas institution.
We got here at about 7:30 and had to wait still about 20 minutes, and while we were waiting, somebody walked out and said, "Oh, you're lucky you're here now. We waited over an hour."
So the last time I was here was about 25 or 30 years ago on a business dinner. People drove me out here into the middle of nowhere, and it was dark, and I was like, what the heck are we doing? But how was your meal?
It was delicious.
More food than you can shake a stick at, more people than you can shake a stick at, and it's a whole procedure where they bring the food out in a cart and it's covered with more foil than you've ever seen. I mean, it's Texas after all, and you can have all the beans you can eat and all the coleslaw you can eat, and we had a lot of food. So now we're gonna go fall asleep after our food coma, but first, it's an hour back to the campground, so we're on our way out.
It was worth the drive.
It was worth it?
It was worth it.
Yeah, we had a good dinner. So there you go, Cattleman's in Fabin, Texas. If you're ever in West Texas, in the El Paso area, you gotta stop by. It's 6:30 in the morning, and we are leaving Hueco Tanks. Uncharacteristically, we got up early this morning. Everybody in the campground is going to say, hey, what happened to those people in the Airstream? We're gone. And hopefully we will have a safe drive and get to our destination without too many problems and without too much wind. We'll see how it goes.
David is obsessive about the weather, especially on travel days. He consults maybe 24 apps on his phone, plus all the weather websites, various radios, and I think he may have a fortune teller, crystal ball, and a dividing rod hidden somewhere. So when he saw extremely high winds in the forecast for later in the day, we knew we had to get on the road super early. At 6:30 a.m., however, our getaway stalled at the locked entrance gate. The combination the park gave us at check-in didn't work.
No?
No. Doesn't say. David needed to head back and wake up the camp host, but since the road was too narrow to turn the trailer around, we had to unhook. I stayed with the trailer by the gate, and he headed back. Just as he was about to knock on the host's door, I called to tell him a ranger had just shown up and opened the gate.
Parks Wildlife Department person.
And he can't open it?
No.
All right, well, I don't know what the...
Oh, he got it open.
All right, goodbye.
He pulled up to the gate, and I said, do you have the code? He goes, didn't they give it to you? I said, yep, it's not working. He looks in his wallet, he goes, 1710 or something? I'm like, no, they told us 7447. I said, did they change it? Yeah, they change it every couple weeks. I'm like, well, we didn't get that memo. Good thing we left early.
Now it's 7:30. When we arrived at Camp Washington Ranch, the wind was already howling, 40 to 50 miles an hour sustained with gusts over 70. Once we disconnected and got the stabilizers on the ground, we hunkered down inside the trailer while it rocked in the wind, which meant we didn't capture as much of the storm as we wish we had. But here's a clip during the storm and one immediately after to show the difference. By the next morning, the wind had calmed and the cleanup had begun. Camp Washington Ranch it's an interesting place. Originally a cattle ranch and general store along the highway, it became known for its colorful Wild West past of gunslingers, cattle barons, and entrepreneurs. Today, it's owned by Cark Inc., whose primary mission is to serve people with developmental disabilities. The ranch has a wedding venue, conference facilities, and a couple of RV sites, all to help support Cark's mission. 2 group homes are located on the property, so visitors are asked to respect those areas. But beyond that, it felt like we had the whole ranch all to ourselves. We also enjoyed walking Doug along the trails, near the ponds, and even through the old water storage tanks. With its mix of history, open space, and quiet trails, Camp Washington Ranch was a great stop on our journey.
Howdy, y'all! We're here in Texas.
About right here at Guadalupe Mountains National Park.
There's no roads that go into the park because it's all mountains. So we're just driving into McKittrick Canyon, where we're going to take a hike because it's really the only way to experience the park. And since I'm still restricted, we can't actually climb to Guadalupe Peak, so we chose this hike, which I think is going to be really interesting.
Fun fact, the mountains are not technically mountains by the tectonic plate definition. It's actually a huge exposed reef. Millions of years ago, like 260 plus millions of years ago, this area was completely underwater, and the reef was formed by all the sea creatures and sponges that lived here, and now it's exposed and there's fossils up there. So it's...
I have another fun fact for you. So it's called the Capitan Reef. That's what it's called. As a matter of fact, we drove by a rock that's called El Capitan, like in Yosemite. Capitan Reef sounds like Capitol Reef. Capitol Reef isn't actually a reef. Go figure.
We are standing in front of Pratt Cabin. We hiked 2.5 miles up McKittrick Canyon to get here.
Pratt Cabin is named for Wallace Pratt. He came here in 1930 and he said he instantly fell in love with the place. And so what he did was he built this cabin in the winter, 1931 and 1932. It's all stone. The walls are stone, the floors are stone, the roof is stone, and he lived here. And then in the 1960s, he donated the whole canyon, thousands of acres, to the National Park Service so that it could be part of Guadalupe Mountains National Park. And it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And he wrote sort of a love letter to the park to let them know how he felt about the canyon and what it took to build the cabin. It was pretty neat. So now we got to hike back 2.5 miles. You ready?
It's all downhill.
Yeah, right. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Our 5-mile trek to Pratt Cabin through McKittrick Canyon.
It's listed as a moderate hike, but it was a really easy trail, just a few stream crossings, mostly dry. I think it's listed as moderate because of the distance.
We are now on our way to Frijole Ranch. It's a historic ranch where Mescalero Apache people and early settlers eked out a living.
Eek! Today We are in Carlsbad National Park. We're in a not very often used or known part of the park. This is the Rattlesnake Springs Historic District. Actually, Rattlesnake Spring is a actual spring, provides water to the area, including to Camp Washington Ranch, where we are spending the night. So we're gonna go check it out and see what it looks like.
To the springs, and there's a big sign there that said this is the water that percolates naturally from the mountain, and it's pumped down to over to Carlsbad Caverns National Park, and any extra water is given to the neighbors. So Camp Washington is where we're staying, and so they get it, and then it goes from there.
So this is what we'll be drinking and showering in, and we're glad we have a filter because, yeah, it kind of reminds me of the springs in Florida.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
really clear. There's actually fish in there.
Yeah, I want to know how the fish got in there.
So, yeah, a little known sliver of Carlsbad Caverns National Park is Rattlesnake Spring.
We are on our way to Carlsbad Caverns. Fun fact, the reef formation that we discussed at Guadalupe is part of Carlsbad Caverns.
This will be on the test.
So if you study up.
We picked a great place. We're at Camp Washington Ranch. From where we sit, from the windows of our trailer, we can see Guadalupe Mountains National Park, and we can see the visitor center of Carlsbad Caverns. And it's super close. We barely had time for this intro.
All right, we made it to Carlsbad Caverns. We're at the natural entrance showing here. There's two ways to get down. One is
Elevator.
and second is
Walk. 1.25 miles.
so you descend about the height of the Empire State Building as you walk down, and then when you get down there, there's restrooms and a snack bar.
Yeah, go figure.
All right, so here we go
Anything for a buck.
on our way into Carlsbad Caverns. So we're headed down from the plateau where the visitor center of Carlsbad Caverns is. And when you're in New Mexico, what do you do for lunch?
Green chili cheeseburger.
And if it's New Mexico, you got to go to Blake's Lotaburger. So we are headed there now in Carlsbad, New Mexico. For that, we're going to go get our sign picture. But I got to ask, how did that meet your expectations?
I have no words. It was spectacular. I just thought you would walk down a little ramp and you'd be in this big room, because that's what it said. You walk in the natural entrance and you enter a big room. It was a 1.25 mile walk down, and just formation after formation after formation.
And every one of them different.
Every one of them different. It was like Star Wars-esque. And then you don't end up in a big room. You just end up in this huge area that's still you're on a walkway around.
For another 1.25 miles.
For another 1.25 miles with just more massive formations. It was incredible.
And those were some of the coolest formations too.
Yeah.
Right, the Rock of Ages and
the iceberg rock that fell from the ceiling.
But it's unlikely to happen again, they say.
Yeah.
So Carlsbad Caverns is really spectacular. It's definitely up there on my list. It was really, really, really cool. But we worked up an appetite, so it's time for some green chili cheeseburgers.
time, we roll into Marfa, Texas to see what all the hype is about. We've been in Marfa almost 24 hours, and we still don't get it. I guess Marfa didn't get us either. But we did enjoy an amazing meal you won't want to miss. We'll tour historic hotels, explore Big Bend Ranch State Park and Big Bend National Park, and even row across the Rio Grande to Mexico for margaritas and tacos. All that and more coming up on the next episode of Destinations, Dents, and Discoveries. See you then.
Keep gate closed. I think you have to go open the gate. It would have been nice if somebody had told us this.
On a trail for art. No, we are at Hueco Tanks State Park.
Start again.
We are at Hueco Tanks. We're at.
Reading candy, which is probably not what we should be doing on camera. Hold on. When we came out here at the Goldbergs, I was like, oh my God, where are we?
Howdy, y'all.
We are standing in front of Pratt Cabin,
Named for Wallace Pratt.
who don't.
Start again.
The walls and roof are all stone.
And the floor.
And the floor. And
When in New Mexico, what do you do for lunch?
Blake's, I don't even know what it's called, Lotta Burger for David.